Hi, everyone. If you have the unfortunate luck of hearing this narration, it's really scuffed. This is my first attempt at one, so hopefully you like it. Um, and if you do see it, maybe leave a comment down below on what I can work on. It's got a lot of mistakes, trust me. Okay, bye. The first time Lyra disappeared, I thought she was playing with me. The second time, I thought she was afraid. But the third time she vanished, she left behind a glowing stone, a warning, and an army of creatures that somehow knew my name. That was when I finally understood. Lyra had never entered my world by accident, and neither had I entered hers. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. It all began at the edge of a forest I had no memory of entering. The forest was strangely quiet, not peaceful by any means, just quiet. There were no birds calling from the branches, no insects moving through the grass. Even the wind seemed afraid to disturb whatever was sleeping beneath the trees. That's when I saw her. She stood between two ancient looking pines, half concealed by shadow. Silver hair fell over her shoulders. Two dark horns curved elegantly from her head, and a narrow tail moved behind her with the slow impatience of a clock. Her eyes were violet, not the pale violet of flowers, the deep violet of the sky just before a storm. She watched me as though she had been expecting someone else. "You shouldn't be here." Her voice was soft, but the warning beneath it was unmistakable. I should have turned around. Instead, I asked the first question that came to mind, considering I had no idea how I got here. Where exactly is here? Somewhere you don't belong. She stepped closer. The shadows seemed to move with her, curling around her feet like obedient animals. "Go home before you tempt me to change my mind." "About what?" "Letting you leave." Every instinct told me to run. At this point, where would I have even run to? But beneath the danger, I saw something else in her expression. Curiosity. She was studying me as carefully as I was studying her. "What's your name?" "You're either very brave or very stupid." Can I be both? For the first time, she smiled. "Lyra." "Lyra?" Something changed in her eyes when I repeated it, only for a second. Then she tilted her head. "And what do they call you, mortal?" "They call me Jack." She repeated the name slowly as though testing it. "Jack." "No, I don't think so." That's definitely my name, I would know. Perhaps in this world." "Okay, weird thing to say. What are you gonna call me then?" Her violet eyes narrowed with quiet amusement. "Emissary." "Why emissary of all things?" "Because you walked into a place no mortal should have been able to find. Either you're carrying a message between worlds, or you are the message." "That sounds unnecessarily dramatic, honestly." "You'll get used to it, emissary." She turned away. "Now go home." "About that, where is home? And will I see you again?" "In your dreams." Her tail flicked once, then the darkness folded around her and she disappeared. I stood alone beneath the trees, wondering whether I had imagined her. But when I finally found my way out of the forest and reached my house, her voice whispered from the shadows outside my door. "Sweet dreams, emissary." Even after such an odd encounter, I slept for 8 hours. When I woke, a silver charm rested against my chest. It was shaped like a small horned creature with delicate wings and a curling tail. The metal felt warm against my skin. Then Lyra's voice drifted from somewhere inside the room. "Don't get used to the peace. I'm watching." I sat up quickly. She was perched beside the window, one knee drawn against her chest, sunlight stopping just short of where she sat. Whoa, hold on a second. Did you just break into my house?" "I prefer entered creatively." "And you put this necklace on me while I was sleeping?" Her gaze dropped to the charm. "It's protection." "From what? You?" Her smile disappeared. "Things that notice people like you. People like me feel kinda judged." She ignored the question. Instead, she crossed the room and touched the charm with one clawed finger. It pulsed beneath her hand. I gave it to you, so don't lose it. So it means something to you then? Her eyes met mine. For one unguarded moment, she looked almost vulnerable. Then her familiar smirk returned. Maybe, maybe not. She leaned close enough that I could feel her breath against my cheek. You really should be more careful, emissary. Then she vanished again, laughing softly. That became my rhythm. Lyra appeared whenever she pleased, in dark doorways, behind curtains, in the reflection of windows after midnight. Sometimes she came to frighten me. Sometimes she came simply to sit nearby and pretend she hadn't. Every time she disappeared, the room felt a little colder. One morning, I felt her behind me before she spoke. You're getting better at sensing me. Her claws lightly grazed my arm. What are you going to do now, emissary? I turned towards her. I kind of want to kiss you. For the first time since I had met her, the immortal creature looked genuinely shocked. Her tail froze, her eyes widened. I don't kiss mortals. Why not? It's messy. That's unfortunate. I've gotten a couple compliments in my day. Lyra stared at me, then she burst into laughter. Not the controlled mocking laughter she usually used. A real one, warm and surprised. It changed her face completely. For a few seconds, she didn't look like something born from darkness. She looked like a girl who had forgotten she was allowed to be happy. But when the laughter faded, something guarded returned to her eyes. Humans are dangerous. That's funny coming from you. I thought demons were supposed to be dangerous. We are. She looked away. But humans make promises. And that frightens you? Her tail curled tightly around her leg. Promises have power where I come from. Does that mean you never make them? Lyra hesitated. No. The answer came too quickly. Someone had hurt her before. Someone mortal. She refused to tell me who. Later that day, Lyra invited me into the forest. She led me along a trail that seemed invisible until she stepped onto it. Branches bent away from her, shadows leaned towards her as though listening. Halfway through the woods, she stopped. You're dangerous for a mortal. Is this because I try to kiss you? I was just joking. No, because you ask questions, and you avoid answering them. She smiled nervously, then her expression softened. I'm not afraid of what you could do to me. What are you afraid of? Her eyes lowered. What you might make me feel. The honesty of it silenced me. I stepped closer but didn't touch her. Being afraid doesn't make you weak. You don't know what I am. I know enough. No, you don't. I'm not human. That's just what you are. It isn't who you are. For several seconds, Lyra said nothing. Then she reached for my hand. Her fingers were cool. She claimed the gesture meant nothing, but she didn't let go. As we continued walking, she placed a second silver charm in my palm. It matched the one around her neck. A peace offering. Don't break it. I fastened it beside the first charm. Lyra looked away to hide her smile. She wasn't very good at it. The hours passed differently around Lyra. Minutes became afternoons. Silences became conversations. She began asking questions about ordinary human things. Why people celebrated birthdays. Why we kept photographs of people who were gone. Why humans cried when they were happy. She pretended not to care about the answers, but she remembered every one. One evening, she appeared without her cloak. In the daylight, her horns and pointed ears were impossible to hide. Neither was the nervousness in her expression. You're staring. I'm appreciating the view. Her cheeks darkened. I could turn you into something unpleasant. You say that every time I compliment you. One day I might mean it. She opened her hand. A small sphere of light hovered above her palm. It glowed like fire but gave off no smoke. She placed it carefully into my hand. It was warm and pulsed like a living heartbeat, a piece of my fire. Why are you giving it to me? So you never lose warmth? I closed my fingers around it. You could fix that. Stop leaving me. Stay with me. Her wings twitched. You can take the bed. I'll sleep on the couch. No funny business. That isn't what concerns me. What does? She looked at me for a long moment. You're becoming comfortable with me, emissary. And I shouldn't be? No. Are you comfortable with me? Lyra immediately turned toward the kitchen. Would you like more tea? It wasn't an answer, but she stayed the night. That night, I dreamed of my mother. She had been gone for years, but in the dream she stood beyond a wall of mist. She called my name. Every time I tried to reach her, the darkness pulled her further away. Then something stepped out behind her. Something tall, something wearing her voice. I woke in a cold sweat. The room was empty. Lyra was gone. A note rested beside me. I didn't leave. Stop worrying so much, and also, stop dreaming so loudly. Her voice emerged from the darkness. Good morning, emissary. She appeared near the doorway, but something was wrong. Her usual smile was gone. You heard the voice in my dream? I heard enough. It sounded like my mother, but different. Lyra looked towards the window. You need to forget that dream. Why? Because some dreams are doors, and something was trying to open mine. She didn't answer. Over the next few days, Lyra changed. She still laughed at my jokes, still called me emissary, still appeared behind me just to watch me jump. But every time she thought I wasn't looking, the smile left her face. She began staring at the silver charm around my neck. She checked the windows more often, and whenever the orb pulsed, fear moved through her eyes. One afternoon, she stopped walking in the middle of the forest. Without warning, she wrapped her arms around me. Her grip was tight, desperate. Just hold on. I held her. For a moment, I felt her shaking. Lyra, what's wrong? Nothing. You're terrible at lying. And you're terrible at leaving things alone. Then tell me the truth. She stepped away. Her hands remained on my arms as though she had forgotten how to let go. I have to leave. Why? For how long? I don't know. Will you come back? Please, don't leave me again. Lyra tried to smile. It was the saddest smile I had ever seen. I'll see you tomorrow. But tomorrow came without her, then another day, and another. When Lyra finally returned, she appeared in the corner of my room without a sound. She didn't make a joke. She didn't try to frighten me. She simply stood there, looking at everything. The books on the shelf, the blankets she had stolen from the couch, the cup she always complained was too small. It was the way someone looked at a place they knew they would never see again. Lyra, you came back. I'm sorry. For what? Her voice broke when she answered. For meeting you. Please, don't say that. I know what comes next, Lyra. You were safer before me. I don't care. I wasn't happier before I met you. Happiness doesn't matter if it gets you killed. It matters to me. She shook her head. You don't understand. Something has noticed you, something old. Every time I come here, it gets closer. Then we face it together. No. Why not? Because I know what happens when mortals stand beside creatures like me. They make promises, they believe love will make them strong enough to take on anything, and then they die. Who did you lose? Lyra flinched. For a moment, I thought she might finally tell me. Instead, she looked down. Goodbye. The words seemed to take all the air from the room. I could not think of anything clever to say. I couldn't even ask her to stay. My head dropped. A tear rolled down my cheek. Lyra appeared in front of me instantly. The distance vanished from her expression. Please don't. Don't what? Make this harder. You keep leaving me. Everybody keeps leaving me, Lyra. She took my hand and placed the glowing orb into my palm. Take this. I don't want this stupid orb. It carries a piece of my fire, so you'll always feel a little alive. I feel alive when you're here, Lyra. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. One slipped free before she could hide it. She reached up and touched my face. Her fingers lingered against my cheek. You were supposed to be afraid of me. I tried. You were supposed to forget me. I couldn't. She leaned closer. For one breath, I thought she was going to kiss me. Instead, she kissed my cheek. Gentle, frightened, final. Don't forget me, emissary. The shadows began gathering around her. I caught her wrist. You're the person who made me feel alive again. How could I ever forget you? For 1 second, Lyra looked as though she might stay. Her fingers tightened around mine, then she pulled away. Goodbye, Jack. It was the first time she had ever used my real name, and somehow that made it hurt more. The darkness swallowed her. Her voice drifted faintly from somewhere beyond the walls. I wish I had found you in another life. The next morning, I made 2 cups of tea. I didn't realize what I had done until I reached for the second cup. It stayed on the table until it grew cold. At first, I told myself Lyra would return. She had disappeared before. Any moment, she would have stepped out of the shadow and laughed at me for worrying. So I waited. 1 day became 3. 3 became 7. The second cup remained in the cabinet. I stopped opening the curtains. The sunlight made the empty rooms feel too honest. I stopped walking through the forest. Every tree reminded me of her. Every moving shadow looked like silver hair disappearing around a corner. Every creak in the house made me turn around, hoping only to remember he wasn't coming back. Messages from friends went unanswered, food spoiled in the refrigerator, dishes gathered beside the sink. Some days I slept until afternoon, other nights I didn't sleep at all. The house slowly became darker, and the fire Lyra left behind became the brightest thing in it. Not because it glowed, because everything else had gone dark. I carried the orb from room to room. Sometimes I spoke to it. I know you can't hear me. I hope you're safe. The orb pulsed once. I convinced myself it meant something. Other nights, I woke convinced that I heard her voice. I see you, emissary. I would sit upright and search the room. The doorway, the curtains, the corners where the shadows gathered, nothing. Again, eventually the memories stopped waking me, and somehow that hurt more. One evening, I placed 2 cups on the table without thinking. When I noticed the second one, I stared at it for a long time. I forgot. I'm alone now. That was the night I finally stopped waiting for her, and the night something else began waiting for me. A few days later, I carried the glowing orb to my mother's grave. The sky was gray, the cemetery was empty. I sat beside the stone and told her everything. The forest, the silver-haired girl, the way Lyra pretended not to care, the way she had made me laugh again, the way she left just like everyone else. I don't even know if you can hear me anymore. I never got to tell her thank you. She gave me something to wake up for, and now she's gone too. I placed the orb against the cold stone. I lost both of you. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the orb began to glow, not gently, violently. The silver charms around my neck heated against my skin. A voice whispered behind me, "You haven't lost us, Jack." I turned. No one was there, but something followed me home. At first, I thought the movement outside my window was Lyra. Then my front door exploded inward. Shapes crawled through the opening, thin, twisted creatures with too many limbs. Their bodies moved like broken shadows. Their mouths opened far wider than anything should have. One tilted its head, then it spoke my name. Jack. A familiar voice thundered through the room. "Fight or flee, emissary. Choose." Instinctively, I raised the orb. White fire erupted from my hand, surrounding me in a glowing shield. The creature struck at it and screamed. Then darkness split open behind them. Lyra emerged with her wings spread wide. She threw herself between me and the monsters. "Run, emissary." Instead, I pushed the shield outward. The light slammed into the creature. Lyra turned towards me in disbelief. "You never listen. You came back. This is not the time." "It's a little bit the time." Despite everything, a laugh escaped her. Then she moved like living shadow. Claws flashed, wings deflected teeth and talons. The orb burned brighter each time she came close. Together, we forced the surviving creatures back through the broken doorway. But the doorway no longer led outside. Beyond it waited a cavern beneath a sky with no stars. Lyra stared into it, then at me. "We have to close the gate." "How?" Her hand found mine from the other side. Before I could object, she pulled me through. Crossing the doorway felt like being torn apart and rebuilt in the same breath. We landed inside a cavern stretching farther than I could see. Above us was not a ceiling, but a black sky filled with unfamiliar constellations. Floating islands drifted in the distance. Rivers of pale light ran upward into the darkness. "What is this place?" "The edge, where worlds touch." She reached for the orb. The moment her fingers touched it, light traveled through her arm. Her expression changed. "You're a soul walker." "A what?" Someone who can cross the veil without being destroyed. A rare one, a powerful one. So is that why you call me emissary? Lyra hesitated. At first, it was a joke. And now? Now I'm afraid it may be a title. So that's why the creatures came after me. Yes. And why you left? Lyra lowered her eyes. I thought distance would hide you. You thought disappearing without an explanation would protect me? I thought you would hate me. I tried. Her gaze rose. I wasn't very good at it. For a moment, despite everything surrounding us, Lyra smiled. Then the cavern trembled. A voice rolled through the darkness. The Soul Walker has arrived. Smoke gathered in front of us. A tall figure formed within it, wrapped in pale flame. Its eyes glowed like dying suns. Who are you? Call me the Keeper. It looked directly at me. You, Soul Walker, are the key. The key to what? The Shadow Gates. Lyra moved slightly in front of me. The Keeper noticed. You've grown attached, Daughter of the Veil. Lyra's claws extended. Choose your next words carefully. The Keeper laughed, and a growl echoed through the chamber. The walls began to shake. Creatures poured from every tunnel, hundreds of them. Lyra spread her wings. Stay behind me, emissary. No. Just once, could you do what I ask? Probably not. Despite the danger, she gave a breathless laugh. Then we charge. The cavern became a storm of fire, claws, and shadow. The orb burned in my hand. Every time I raised it, white fire drove the creatures back. Lyra fought beside me, guarding every blind spot. One creature leapt towards her. I struck it with a blast of light. Another lunged at me. Lyra tore it from the air. For the first time, we moved as though we had fought together our entire lives. Then the Keeper's voice echoed over the chaos. They will not stop until you are broken. A massive creature emerged from the smoke. Or they will. The orb pulsed violently. A voice whispered into my mind. Use it. I raised the orb with both hands. Light exploded through the cavern. A shockwave of white fired through the creatures against the walls. For one breath, everything was silent. Lyra turned towards me, smiling in disbelief. That was. The smoke behind her began to rise. Not drift, rise. A colossal figure unfolded from the darkness. It was taller than the cavern itself. One eye opened, then another, then dozens more. Every one of them fixed upon me. Lyra's smile disappeared. The Keeper stepped backwards, and the glowing orb cracked down the middle. Lyra seized my hand. Run, emissary. But before we could move, the figure spoke.
Emissary.
The word rolled through the cavern like thunder. Lyra pulled me closer. Don't answer it. Then the figure spoke again. Not the title Lyra had given me. Not emissary. My real name.
Jack, you took so long to find me.
Hearing my name and my mother's voice struck harder than any scream could have. Lyra knew me as emissary. The Keeper knew me as the Soul Walker. But whatever stood before us knew the name my mother had whispered over my crib. A name from long before the forest. Long before Lyra. Long before I knew another world existed. I looked at her. For the first time since I had met her, Lyra was truly terrified. How does it know my name? Her claws tightened around my hand. I don't know, Jack. It was the second time she had ever used my real name. And this time, it sounded like she was afraid she might never get to say it again. The crack in the orb spread. Something moved inside the light. Then a voice whispered from within it, You finally found the door. The cavern split open beneath our feet. Lyra pulled me against her. Her wings wrapped around us as we fell into the darkness. The last thing I saw was a colossal figure reaching down after us. The last thing I heard was my mother calling me home. I once believed Lyra was the shadow standing between two worlds. I was wrong. It was the only thing preventing those worlds from colliding. And somewhere beyond the edge, wearing my mother's voice, something had been waiting for me to arrive. Something that knew who I was. Something that knew what I could become. And as Lyra and I fell deeper into the darkness between worlds, the broken orb spoke one final warning. This is not where your story began. It is where you finally remember it.
So, what'd you guys think? Like I said, first time narrating. Don't really know what I'm doing too much. I can read, so that's a plus, 100%. Personally, I feel like pacing is a huge deal. It's something I'm definitely gonna work on. And then sound design. First time I'm ever really doing something like that. So that's kind of cool. I don't know. The whole process was fun. A little frustrating at times, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys had an okay time. Thank you for sticking to the end, for those of you that did. And if you guys have any suggestions on stuff to narrate, I mean, it's only up from here, right? I really hope so. But with you guys, anything's possible. So I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.